Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome to this high-level international panel on integrating media and information literacy in higher education curricula. What has been achieved so far? What are the challenges? And what are the prospects for this promising and must be component of quality higher education for the 21st century? This international panel is co-organized by UNESCO, Moulay Ismail University of Meknes, Morocco, and the UNESCO UNITWIN University Network on Media Information Literacy and Intercultural Dialogue, which is entering its second decade of existence, a very auspicious start taking place at the UNESCO World Higher Education Conference 2022 to contribute a series of media information literacy events that UNESCO is co-organizing with member universities from 18 to 20th May 2022. I'm Dricia Schwitz, professor at Moulay Ismail University, member of the UNESCO UNITWIN University Network on media information literacy and intercultural dialogue, and a fervent advocate of media information literacy for all. I have the honor to co-moderate this international panel with my colleague, Dr. Alton Grizel from the Communication and Information sector of UNESCO. The high-level opening session will be followed by a panel discussion by eminent speakers from the Milid University Network. It's my pleasure to welcome the distinguished inaugural speakers who have honored us with their presence at this high-level opening session. Dr. Tawfiq Jelassi, Assistant Director General of UNESCO for the Communication and Information sector. We were expected to have Dr. Hassan Sahbi, President of Moulay Ismail University, but he was called for an important meeting in the last minute, and he will be represented by Dr. Mohamed Larous, Dean of the Faculty of Arts and Humanities of Moulay Ismail University. And Dr. Rubens Bissac, who represents the Vice Chancellor of the University of Sao Paulo in Brazil, Professor Maria Armanda Nascimento Arruda. Now, I have the immense pleasure and great honor to invite Dr. Tawfiq Jelassi to inaugurate the panel. Mr. Assistant Director General, we are all ears. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Professor Dricia Schwitz, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues. First of all, I would like to warmly welcome you to this event on integrating media and information literacy in higher education curricula, realities, challenges, and prospects. As you know, this is the first in a series of media and information literacy events, which we organized in the context of the UNESCO World Higher Education Conference 2022, physically held in Barcelona, Spain. This event shortly follows another major event we organized earlier this month, which is the 2022 World Press Freedom Day and Conference, which was held at a very critical moment in history when journalism is under digital siege and the challenges of the cyberspace are growing more than ever before. Let me start by acknowledging with appreciation our partners, the Moulay Ismail University of Meknes in Morocco, and other members of the UNESCO UN Alliance of Civilizations, International Media and Information Literacy and Intercultural Dialogue University Network. I would like also to recognize the universities from all over the world that have responded to the UNESCO call to strengthen cooperation with academic institutions as we take forward our work to build media and information literate societies. Today, in the context of the rapid digital transformation, which we are all witnessing, media and information literacy, or MIL for short, has become an essential set of competencies. It empowers people to maximize advantages and minimize the harm in the information, digital, and communication landscapes in which we find ourselves today. Advancing media and information literacy in all levels of education has become not only an urgency, but it has become an obligation for all stakeholders. The United Nations General Assembly has called upon all member states, that is the 193 countries, and other stakeholders to develop and implement policies, action plans, and strategies related to the promotion of media and information literacy, and to increase awareness, capacity for prevention, and resilience to disinformation and misinformation. Media and information literate citizens are better equipped to counter disinformation and engage more effectively in dialogue, diversity, equality, freedom of expression, peace building, and sustainable development. In the same spirit, UNESCO supports member states in building institutional and human capacities to integrate MIL into policies and strategies, but also to bridge the digital and knowledge divides. UNESCO has been working with more than 100 countries around the world, supporting them in putting MIL and integrating it into their national policies and curricula. Over the years, higher education institutions have been a driving force behind MIL development, and they have been contributing to these efforts through their research work, capacity development, and community outreach efforts. However, more needs to be done to reshape the ideas and practices of higher education on MIL, to ensure sustainable development for the planet and for humanity. This aligns with the objective of the UNESCO World Higher Education Conference. UNESCO has developed key resources to provide higher education institutions and countries around the world with a methodology to adapt MIL to their national context. At the level of curriculum development, UNESCO has developed complementary resources to support the integration of MIL into all systems of formal, informal, and non-formal education, be it through online or offline learning systems and environments. First, there are the global standards for MIL curricular development guidelines, which address inequities and gaps in MIL dissemination and support existing national development strategies. They were developed with inputs from experts and stakeholders from all over the world. These guidelines aim to enable policymakers, but also information and media literacy practitioners, as well as stakeholders, to design, formulate, and implement MIL programs in and out of school. Second, there is the second edition of the UNESCO Model MIL Curriculum for Educators and Learners, entitled Media and Information Literate Citizens, Think Critically, Click Wisely. This resource includes several modules covering a range of competencies to be adapted according to national needs, but also to reinforce pedagogies in teaching and learning about MIL. At the assessment level, UNESCO has developed the Global Media and Information Literacy Assessment Framework, Country Readiness and Competencies. This framework bridges the gap between MIL, but also information, communication technologies, as well as digital literacy. This resource provides guidance and tools for governments and citizens, especially teachers, to assess national MIL readiness and competencies. At the policy development level, the MIL policy and strategy guidelines focus on curriculum development, monitoring, and capacity building in media and information literacy. Integrating MIL into higher education curricula presents challenges and new perspectives. However, this is urgent and must be done. To expand MIL in higher education institutions, we should first increase the quality and the quantity of online and offline MIL courses offered by higher education institutions to all people through formal education systems. Second, as MIL also involves media institutions and journalists, we also call on journalism education institutions to broaden their activities in this field. The UNESCO resource MIL in Journalism, a handbook for journalists and journalism educators, is an informative and useful guide that can help in this respect. Thirdly, we must systematically increase the number of young university students engaged in creating and disseminating MIL knowledge and resources as leaders and peer educators, both online and offline. Fourth, universities should stimulate their outreach to communities as well as to primary and secondary schools in order to promote MIL programs at all levels. Fifth and last, we should work together in synergy to scale up our efforts. UNESCO and partners will launch the MIL and Intercultural Dialogue University Network, to which we invite you all and your universities worldwide to join in. This network forms a basis for a joint strategy to produce positive synergies in the international higher education community in support of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and the achievement of the specific SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals number 4, number 5, and number 16. Ladies and gentlemen, I invite you to join us for the upcoming sessions of this series tomorrow and the day after, which will seek answers to the following questions. What needs to be done to communicate more widely MIL-related research and to inform national policies and ensure impact on the ground? What is required to establish and sustain an international MIL institute? I call upon all universities again around to really engage with us and join us in achieving together MIL-related objectives and to create media and information literate societies. UNESCO is also pleased to invite all stakeholders to start planning events and actually participating in our 2022 Global Media and Information Literacy Week, which will take place during the last week of October. The theme of this annual event is Nurturing Trust, a Media and Information Literacy Imperative. We'll have a youth forum, we'll have a global conference, which will be hosted this year by Nigeria. And I would like to thank them for their generous offer to host this major global event. Thank you for your attention, and I wish you a fruitful session.
Thank you, Mr. Assistant Director General, for the full support and to all the work that has been done in the media information literacy. It is true that it is now an urgency, and we do need partnerships to achieve media and information literacy at all levels of education and to build partnerships and synergies, setting bridges between academia, policymakers, civil society, and UNESCO is the leading United Nations agency in this regard. I second that the International Institute for Media and Information Literacy will be launched on 20th May. You are all invited to participate, and we are all joining hands to make media and information literacy a reality for youth, to counter disinformation, hate speech, and to build resilient educational systems, resilient learners, and resilient teachers. So many publications by UNESCO are to be adapted to local and national contexts. Now I invite the representative of Moulay Ismail University, Dr. Mohamed Larouz, who will speak on behalf of the president of Moulay Ismail University. Dr. Larouz, are you hearing me? You have the floor. Well, it seems that there is something wrong. He said to me that he was in. I invite Dr. Robin Bissac, who represents the Vice Chancellor of the University of Sao Paulo in Brazil, Professor Maria Arminda Nascimento Arruda, to take the floor. I will check why Dr. Larouz is not responding. Professor Rubens Bissac, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Dricia. Hello, everybody. Dear Assistant General Tawfiq, dear Dricia, and all the authorities in the conference, dear colleagues. It's a pleasure to be here representing our Vice Chancellor, Maria Arminda do Nascimento Arruda. Indeed, this is a brief salute just to say something about the pleasure to be here with you in this event, integrating media and information literacy in higher education curricula, realities, challenges, and prospects, high-level international panel. In this event, this gives us the opportunity in reaffirming the University of São Paulo commitment to which is discussed in this international panel, and more specifically, this one related and coordinated by UNESCO. The University of São Paulo is one of the 5 huge universities in the whole world. And it's important to say that we are talking about a universe of 120,000 souls between students, professors, and other employees. And more related to cultural affairs, we have a population of 2,500,000 participants in cultural and extensive activities. It's important to say also that everything we do in the University of São Paulo have a strong relationship with the society, with plenty. We have lots of museums, institutes open to the population, and so on. So the possibility in managing media literacy, it's for sure one of the main fields in which a university like ours could handle. The commitment of the University of São Paulo into cultural affairs, it's easily perceived when we have a look also to the level of the dean's office in that field. It's directly related to the chancellor and the vice chancellor of the university. Moreover, an event coordinated by UNESCO, and I don't need to talk about the importance of UNESCO here, give us the opportunity to give a strong response by UNESCO in what we do here in Brazil, and more specifically in São Paulo. Thanks very much for the opportunity in joining the conference, more specifically in that panel. And I'd like to say I have to leave you, unfortunately, because I have to give classes in another campus, in another city in São Paulo. But I must say the University of São Paulo is open to partnerships with the ones we are talking in that conference, in that panel, and everything related to cultural affairs and media literacy. So have a good conference. I unfortunately, as I said before, have to go, but have a good meeting and good discussions. Cheers to you.
Thank you very much, Professor Rubens Bissac, for being with us in the inaugural session. The University of Sao Paulo is founding member of the UNESCO Unit 1 University Network on Media and Information Literacy and Intercultural Dialogue. We highlight both aspects, media information literacy and intercultural dialogue, and we welcome warmly your opinion to partnerships, as it has always been the case of the University of Sao Paulo. Thank you so much. Have a nice trip. Bye-bye. Well, now I call Dr. Mohamed Larouz. I hope that he can take the floor. Apparently, there was a problem because he could see us and see what is hear the discussion and the inaugural speeches, but when he takes the floor, we cannot hear him. Sorry. UNESCO, could you please play the video on thinking critically, click wisely, while we see this problem with Dr. Larouz? Apparently, there is a problem for Dr. Larouz to join. Here, I do not know. Can we play the video of? Dr. Larouz, you can't hear us? He can hear us, but we cannot hear him. I do not know how to solve this problem. So we have planned to play the video of the UNESCO introducing the...
now? I think you can hear me now.
Yes, yes. Yes, yeah. Please, Dr. Mohamed Larouz, Dean of the Faculty of Arts and the Humanities, representing the President of Moulay Ismail University, Professor Hassan Sabi. You have the floor.
Okay, I'm awfully sorry for this technical problem. First, dear Dr. Tawfiq Jelassi, Assistant Director, General Communication and Information Sector. Professor Sabi, the president of our university, apologized for not being able to make it because of an urgent issue, you know. So he is send you his best wishes for the success of this international conference. I would like to also express my deep greetings to the dear distinguished participants, speakers, and dear distinguished audience. I would say a very good afternoon to you all. So I think the choice of this year's international conference on media and information literacy in higher education, curricular realities, challenges, and prospects a high-level international panel. I think it's a well thought out topic, issue. I'm quite sure that this topic will inevitably enable us, all of us, to come up with an effective approach to organizing or to organize programs of media information literacy in higher education. And I'm sure also that we'll have a chance to view and reconsider the possible challenges and prospects of incorporating such programs, especially at the tertiary level. So we'd like to thank all the participants in the present conference. My sincere thanks also go to Dr. Dricia Chouit for the wonderful organization of this conference. Her diligence and unconditional commitment have, I'm sure, considerably contributed and will contribute to the success of this conference. I wish you the best of luck. And the fact that our students nowadays refer and prefer media literacy rather than other print media, for example, in their studies, will definitely affect the way media literacy should be approached within our curriculum. And it may also affect even our teaching methodology and perhaps our vision and the philosophy of teaching in general. So research has shown that students learn faster when information is presented to them visually rather than other means of communication. Therefore, our approach in teaching media and information literacy needs to be reconsidered. Holding this international conference in our university in collaboration with UNESCO is really a privilege and an honor for us. So on this occasion, I would like to express my sincere thanks, to the president of our university, who unconditionally supports such events, Hassan Sabi. And I would like to hope and wish the best of luck for this conference, as I'm quite sure again that it will meet its goals and its objective that it has set at the beginning. And once again, thank you for your listening.
Thank you, Mr. Dean. Thanks to the president of Moulay Ismail University. Moulay Ismail University has been actively participating in the partnering activities with UNESCO, to our great honor to have this close collaboration with UNESCO in the framework of the UNESCO UNITWIN Media and Information Literacy and Intercultural Dialogue University Network. Just last year, 2021, we organized in collaboration with UNESCO the first international experts conference to celebrate 10 years of the existence of this network and the 10th anniversary of the Fez Declaration on Media and Information Literacy. We look forward to more collaboration with all the members of the MILID network and with UNESCO and with different partners. Thank you very much. So with this, we have concluded with all the speakers in the high-level opening session. Thank you very much, Mr. Assistant Director General, for all the guidance and collaboration and passion and perseverance for leading media and information literacy and intercultural dialogue to become a reality. Thanks to Professor Rubens Bissac from the University of Sao Paulo, and thanks to my colleague, Dean Mr. Dr. Mohamed Larouz. The second part of this international panel on integrating media and information literacy and university curricula will be devoted to hearing from experts in the field, members of the university, Milad University network. If UNESCO is going to play the video of Think Critically, Click Wisely, after that, Alton Griesel will take up as moderator and I will join him as co-moderator. Alton?
Yes, yes, Tricia, I'm here. Are we going to play the video, please? If you're just joining us, you would have missed three eloquent interventions in the opening session. You are connected for the first session in a series of media and information literacy event at the World Higher Education Conference. We are focusing on integrating media and information literacy in higher education, looking at challenges, good practices, different perspectives. You'll have already heard from those who are connected. If you're just connected, you missed a presentation from our Assistant Director General at UNESCO, Dr. Tawfiq Jelassi. We also heard from Dr. Mohamed Larouz, the Dean, the Faculty of Arts and Humanities of the Moulay Ismail University. And we finally heard from our strong partner in Brazil, the representative of the Vice Chancellor, Dr. Ruben Becker. We have with us a number of experts representing all regions of the world, the Caribbean, Latin America, Arab states, Europe, North America. These are experts, practitioners who have been serving this field of media and information literacy for many decades. Some of them, we say that they are parents of media and information literacy, and others have permitted us to call them grandparents of media and information literacy. And UNESCO is very happy to be partnering with such committed experts who have given so much to this field over the years. Now, our first speaker, if the video is not coming, our first speaker in the lineup is Dr. Paulette Carr. She is a lecturer at the University of West Indies, which is a multi-campus university and the largest university in the West Indies. So Dr. Paulette Carr, the floor is yours. You have 7-8 minutes to present and share with us your experiences as a university that has been championing media and information literacy for several years now.
Thank you so much, Alton. And greetings to you all. Greetings to the panelists. Good to see my colleagues from the network. It is really, really good to be on this panel. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Thank you for this opportunity to share in this panel and to discuss the way forward for MIL in higher education. And I'm Paulette Carr. I am actually the campus librarian at the University of the West Indies, which, as Alton said, is a multi-campus university. I'm at the Mona campus, which is in Jamaica. And I begin my presentation with the understanding that MIL is really essential. So it is on that basis that we begin MIL as essential set of competencies. For my presentation, I just wanted to give an overview just of what I've found in the literature, and I'll share findings from an informal research that I did very, very recently, looking at the findings in terms of the realities on the ground, the challenges that we saw on the ground, and recommendations that my colleagues made. So I wanted to place the context of my presentation within what we are seeing in terms of academic libraries, because as campus librarian, I decided that we would focus on the essential role of librarians as practitioners in moving forward with media information literacy and information literacy. So I looked at the literature and I found that librarians have always and still recognize the benefits of integrating media and information literacy in curriculum. And I found also that very, very important, and for us as librarians, it is a job for the entire campus. So we see ourselves as part of a larger entity that is going to push the agenda forward. And it is also understood that integration leads to impactful learning. So rather than having the MIL, IL competencies on their own, we have found, as the literature says, that it is better to have it integrated. So what I found in the literature is that there are different approaches to integrating MIL within higher education curricula. Librarians as developers of curriculum, so they integrate MIL within the larger curricula. There's a lot of work talking about the embedded IL model where librarians are embedded in courses. There is also faculty librarian collaboration where they sit together and they actually build courses and curricula inserting the MIL competencies. A paper I found very, very interesting was curriculum mapping, where librarians actually go through and assist at various aspects of a particular course in inserting the MIL competencies. And I just wanted to highlight this one by Flairl, Training the Trainer model, which is really looking at training faculty members, engaging with faculty members. So I decided to focus on key practitioners, librarians. So I employed what I called an informal research, where I invited some of my colleagues across the Caribbean. So I got responses from 11 librarians, not all MIL, IL librarians. Some of them were directors of libraries. Some were employed with MIL or IL. I had an student engagement librarian who participated as well in this, and I will speak to that later, representing 6 higher education institutions across the Caribbean. And I sent to them via email just 4 questions, and I won't spend a lot of time on it because of the limited time that we have. But just to say that based on the responses, this is what is happening on the ground for librarians in these higher education institutions. These 11 librarians representing these institutions. So most of them, that 5 represents the number of librarians who are actually practicing as liaison librarians, teaching and guest lecturing in courses for MIL and for IL. I also found that there were some who were collaborating with faculty in organizing workshops. We had a high number also, and that is across all the universities, where the librarians were inserted in foundation courses, general education courses, and academic writing courses. So 5 of those librarians were participating by integrating MIL and IL. I wanted to jump to that infusion of MIL in co-curricular courses, because sometimes we think of the curricula as being just the academic courses, And one of my colleagues from the Caveville campus actually went through a very intense program of collaborating with the first year experience programs and inserting MIL competencies in all of the orientation and all of the courses that the students were involved in. I found too that there was a greater alignment with the ACRL framework, which is why what we found is that most of the higher education libraries within the Caribbean still focus on IL, inserting, of course, media literacy sections, but they are really tied in with IL. The other thing I wanted to focus on, because of the questions that the topic for this research panel, is the challenges that most of them are experiencing. So one of the most of the librarians felt that there was a lack of awareness of faculty. And because we understand that MIL competencies are better integrated within faculty courses and within like FYE programs, there was a lack of awareness. The content of courses are such that there was not enough time left for the MIL competencies. A number of them spoke about the challenges of not having enough staff. I found that across, not having enough staff that are dedicated to information literacy and to media and information literacy. And you can see the numbers for budgetary constraints, again, across the Caribbean. And in some areas, there were technological resources, lack of technological resources. I'll move very quickly to the prospects, because while there were challenges, most of the librarians felt that there was room for improvement. There was room for greater integration of the MIL competencies, the IL competencies across. And they recommended that focus should be on promoting IL. And I heard the deputy of the UNESCO speaking about promoting IL and MIL. And this is probably one of the weaknesses where we are so intent and within ourselves that we have not pushed it. So this is one area that I think, and of course, pushing for staff training, having champions at the highest level so that our principal or faculty members are championing the integration of media and information literacy within the curricula. And of course, having allocation of more staff and resources, both technological resources and budgetary resources. We felt, there are some who felt that a mandatory course was one way of ensuring that IL is integrated. Some of us feel, though, that having a mandatory one course might not get the integration that we are looking for. Very importantly, though, and I heard that coming up earlier, is that lobbying the governments across the region so that their sensitivity to the importance of MIL, IL, so that a standardized curriculum can be used across the Caribbean within the universe, within higher education. So if it is coming from higher up, from the governments, championing at the levels of the universities, then we are going to see success. We're going to see prospects for a greater integration of IL and MIL, of course. So I think that's we can have the discussion afterwards. I'm open to questions. I will share my references and so thank you so much for listening to the presentation.
Thank you so much, Dr. Paulette Carr. You have heard from campus librarian at the University of West Indies. Thank you so much, Dr. Carr, for sharing your minds with us. It's important to have representatives from libraries speaking at conferences like these. And we are encouraged by your, your small research, your purpose-driven research that you did, which underscore that the literature is showing that it's better when we have an integrated approach to promoting media and information literacy rather than a fragmented, disciplinary focus, recognizing that there is convergence in the field of information, media, and technologies. Thank you again for motivating, many of the participants who are connected as to how librarians can be meaningfully engaged in promoting media and information literacy globally. In fact, libraries, perhaps we can say, are the pearls of great price. Sometimes they are forgotten, but they're central and important to our society, to our collective knowledge, and to our quest to promote verified and trusted information. We agree with you that indeed, with all that is happening in the universities across the Caribbean, there's need for policies for government level intervention. And this is why UNESCO is advancing, as our Assistant General, Director General pointed out. We are advancing cooperation with our member states across the world and pushing the agenda for national media and information literacy policies and strategies. And we have many standard-setting resources on that topic, on media and information literacy policies and strategies that can help you in your dialogue with your representatives in your country. With that, we're going to move to our second speaker, leaving the Caribbean, going to Latin America. For UNESCO, it is Latin America and the Caribbean, one region. We have with us Dr. Esther Amberger, who is the professor at the University of Sao Paulo, and also a foundational member of the UNESCO UNOSC Media and Information Literacy and Intercultural Dialogue University Network. Professor Amberger, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Alton, and it's great to be here commemorating, like Drisha said, a new decade in our operation with the UNITWIN, UNESCO UNITWIN network on media literacy and intercultural dialogue. I think during these years, since we first started in 2011, things have become much more dramatic in the world, and media and information literacy has become more and more central. It's very good to be here in a panel coordinated and organized by Drisha from Morocco. As she said, we started there with the FES declaration. So I think it's symbolic that we are here, like many universities that started and continue to be in this endeavor as grandparents, like Alton said, and he, of course, is our, he's crucial to this continuation of the whole operation. The University of São Paulo's presence in this network has been connected to the critical teaching of filmmaking, understood in the broad sense as encompassing film, video, audio, and digital media. You can see the image of one of the activities we have done with the Festival of Short Film, São Paulo International Short Film Festival. Our participation in this network has been connected to audiovisual workshops, screenings, and hands-on activities we promote with students and teachers in public schools in the outskirts of the city of São Paulo, with research done on NGOs that specialize in promoting audiovisual literacy, with research on gender and race discrimination, with debates on ethics and aesthetics of the moving images and sounds, with the promotion of debates around gender and race relations, and the production and circulation of film, radio, television, and digital media. Both our undergraduate and graduate programs, with their original combination of technical skills and theory, history, and criticism, encompass media and information literacy goals and purposes. We have around 200 undergrads plus 200 grads, both MA and PhD students. Each year, we admit 35 of around 1,500 prospective undergrad students and around 30 graduates. Our students produce films that result from our awareness of new ethics and aesthetics. Some of our students and former students have produced films and written essays that have been recognized in festivals and conferences. Their work has been published. Many students and former students have developed teaching skills that have contributed to bridge the MIL gaps between high school students in the public and private systems. During these 11 years, the university has adopted successive programs of inclusion, affirmative action to favor Black, Indigenous, and also students coming from public schools. As a result of these programs, today around 50% of incoming students in the whole University of São Paulo system come from these previously underrepresented segments of the population. Our university is public and free of tuition or taxes. In a highly unequal society, the university is a rare cross-class, cross-race, and cross-ethnic scientific and artistic environment. In this sense, the university can be thought of as a strategic think tank. Today, our students are more diverse than they used to be when we started. In a country where MIU inequality is related to social inequalities or to the digital divide, as Taufik Jelassi mentioned in the beginning of our session, MIL left the agenda of a small group of professors and students to become part of the agenda of the department, the school, the university. Awareness has grown also among other universities who are searching to be integrated in our activities. Along these years, we have organized the student exchange program, including students from Barcelona, Morocco, Jamaica, and from São Paulo, among many other things. In 2016, the annual MILID meeting was at the University of São Paulo. In the following year, we were responsible for writing the report that guaranteed the renewal of this network. During the pandemic, we have developed a consistent partnership with the São Paulo International Short Film Festival, an annual event which screens student films and which has enduring program of audiovisual workshops in underprivileged regions, known as the Kinoforum workshops. More than enumerating the range of things we have accomplished along the years, I would like to take the opportunity of this panel to pursue the challenge posed in its title, to speculate about what I foresee as contemporary post-pandemic conceptual challenges for MIL in Brazil and perhaps elsewhere. Coming from the South, more specifically from one particular southern country where COVID-19 provoked a frontal break between scientific evidence, medical and media discourse on the one hand, and official discourse, inaction, and misinformation on the other, I want to stress the relevance of MIL to face an epistemological break that in the limit questions the very possibility of truth. I speak as a first-generation Brazilian. My father was born in 1933 in Berlin in a Jewish family. Memory and historical experience of their escape inform my understanding of contemporary threats to Brazilian democracy. Organized disinformation works to propagate misunderstanding, hate speech, the spread of weapons and violence. It is well known that the pandemic has highlighted social inequalities and discrimination. Inequality meant unequal access to vaccines and to various kinds of protection against the spread of the virus. In poor urban situations, two of the main strategies to fight the spread of the disease, social isolation and home office, were not easy to achieve. Even though Brazil has one of the largest public universal health systems in the world, a system that is equipped with internationally recognized know-how on vaccination campaigns, and with a huge network of family health professionals who are responsible for taking care of community health, the country has proportionally one of the largest number of COVID deaths. With 210 million people, Brazil has 2.7% of the world population, but around 12% of the number of deaths. Less affluent segments of the population, Blacks and Indigenous, have died more than others. Official discourse spread misinformation regarding, for instance, possible links between COVID vaccination and the spread of HIV. Official discourse opposed vaccination, social distancing, and home office. Official discourse questions mainstream media scientifically grounded reports on the spread of the disease. Fortunately, thanks to the resistance of state governors, federal representatives, scientific institutions, and the media, and independent groups, today Brazil is one of the most vaccinated countries in the world. But the fight against misinformation marks the upcoming electoral campaign. The challenge for media and information literacy now seems to be one of building constructive evidence to defeat official deconstructivist discourses. And I think that's our challenge now, is how to build a constructive form of thinking from our deconstructive ways of unpacking media messages. We have to move on. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Umberger, for your intervention. You have reminded us of the multifaceted nature of media and information literacy, and that another dimension is what many practitioners and experts call film literacy or audiovisual literacy, which again reinforces the need for the integrated approach that Dr. Carr spoke about earlier. Fascinating work that the University of Sao Paulo is doing, linking media and information literacy to gender, race relation, discrimination, and cultural inclusion. These are big topics that are central to social cohesion. They're, so central to the future that we want, and to human solidarity and peace, which is what UNESCO represent with many of our partners. Again, was encouraged by the fact that you identified that the work you're doing with your students in the university to bridge the gaps between what is happening with MIL in the university and what could happen with secondary schools. So that sort of community outreach is a very strong example for other universities around the world who want to promote media and information literacy outreach to high schools and primary schools and even community centers that, in the communities, the different communities and the nation that the universities serve around the world. I think you ended on a very important point, being a university that is cross-ethnic, cross-race, cross-culture, cross-discipline, but scientific. We have to search for truth, as you put it, the possibility, to search for truth to address organized disinformation. And to do that, we need to build constructive evidence and constructive forms of thinking to counter the deconstructive, quote unquote, approaches. This is what media and information literacy is all about, and this is what UNESCO is trying to advance with our stakeholders around the world. And again, welcome to all the listeners and partners online. We encourage you, please, to note your questions. We'll be having a question and answer section. So please note your questions in the question and answer box on Zoom, all right, or online. With that, I pass over to my co-moderator, Dr. Dricia Schuit, who will continue with the speakers.
Thank you, Alton. Next speaker is Dr. Sherry Hoppe-Culver. She serves as the director of the Center for Media Information Literacy at the Temple University in the United States, where she is associate professor in the Klein College of Media and Communication. Sherry's teaching and consulting focuses on media literacy and media institutions with a focus on children's media. She serves as vice chair of the Global Media and Information Literacy Alliance, a UNESCO-led alliance of over 600 organizations from 80 countries. She produces and hosts the podcast titled Kids Talk Media. Sherry, you have the floor.
Thank you. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I'm getting over a bit of laryngitis. I apologize in advance for my voice, but thank you so much for that introduction. I'm going to share my screen so we can look at this together. I think it will be interesting already to see some of the thematic connections between the speakers and those realities, challenges, and prospects. I know that we want to keep on our time, so I'm going to jump right in. Dricia already mentioned some of the connections that are on this page. I'm going to focus on my university and how we are working toward integrating media and information literacy, and in particular, the work at the Center for Media and Information Literacy. I do think that this discussion is such an important one. At my own university, I came to the university after working in the media industry for many years, and I started teaching in 2007 and immediately wanted there to be a course that was offered in media and information literacy. There was none. There were people, professors, and there still are, who are teaching what we might all describe as media and information literacy, but they do not self-describe it that way. And so we began a discussion about what it means and what it is, but that took many years before we actually got to a point of having curriculum connected to it. So I'll explain that in a little bit. But I think that's an important component to recognize the role, as this entire conference does, of higher education. So when I think about the realities, challenges, and prospects, those align for me with the need for support and involvement and understanding. I think it was Paulette who mentioned first about dean's level support and engagement. And I would have to concur with that was a turning point for my work at the university when it came to media and information literacy, was a change in the dean. And the new dean who came from the news industry. And he came in with a strong understanding and belief in the power and the need for media and information literate students. And so that shifted the entire discussion in my college. I'm at a very large university, and the College of Media and Communication is one of the largest colleges in the university, but it really needed a person at the top to understand the value of media and information literacy. So much of the discussion around media and information literacy at the university comes through really three areas. One is the center that I direct. The other is the Office of General Education, and the other is the library. So I'll touch on each of them. In the Center for Media and Information Literacy, we're involved in some research. Sometimes that is research that we direct. Sometimes that's research that we're invited to be a partner with. We often work with the National Association for Media Literacy Education, which is the large membership organization in the United States. And then the Millard Partners have Media and Information Literacy and Intercultural Dialogue Network, have worked together to do research. And many of the people that are on the panel today have been a part of that. We work with the group that I was just mentioning, the network, and also with the Alliance. So looking for opportunities for the part of what, I guess I'll take a step back and say, part of what has made it possible for the university to move forward in its view about media and information literacy is the leadership we've been able to show in being connected to the programs at UNESCO. That has held a lot of weight and importance with other areas of the university. So pulling those pieces together has been key. An effort of the Center for Media and Information Literacy is a television series that we produce titled Media Inside Out. And that is a media literacy program. We use the word media literacy and media and information literacy at every episode. We engage with other faculty, so it's an opportunity to bring other faculty that are doing work in media and information literacy to the discussion and help them to see that what they are doing is actually media and information literacy. That's been going on since 2012, and we've done 60 episodes. And I think we're at 59, actually, 59 episodes. So that's been one way to engage the full university in the work of media and information literacy. We also work with the community. And so we're extending ourselves out to, in particular, organizations that are doing youth media in Philadelphia. There is quite a thriving youth media, many organizations, and they are doing media and information literacy, but don't always recognize that that is a component of what they do. And this is a recurring theme where how I would define and how you might define media and information literacy, others are involved in that, but are not actually seeing themselves as part of it. So I see one of our important roles as helping people to understand the definition and how their work aligns with media and information literacy. We have a blog at the website for the Center for Media and Information Literacy to bring up different topics so that folks can see the full breadth of what is involved in media and information literacy. We work with some other global partners. I'm going to go a little bit quickly through this, some press experts, and then we develop some courses. The one that I wanted to focus on is particular this course that is media in a hyper-mediated world. This was the course that was developed in 2000. It started being developed in 2016 and was first offered to students in 2019. It is offered through the general education program at the university. So any student across the university can take it, and it is 100% a media and information literacy course. All aspects of it, the full curriculum. It is the only course in this large university, it is the only course that is specifically around MIL. And multiple departments were involved. I led multiple groups in journalism, in advertising, in public relations, in marketing, in strategic communication to come together and develop the curriculum. Our next effort that we're working on is a certificate in children's media. So we're working with students and then with industry and helping them to see how media and information literacy should be an integral part of the content that children are consuming. So that's an effort of the Center for Media and Information Literacy, but the certificate will be a certificate that students can take within our college. The other areas of the university that are involved, as I mentioned, are the libraries. So they are offering resources and programming around misinformation and disinformation. And then the general education program. You'll notice almost the second to last bullet there says information literacy. So they do not use the term media and information literacy. We have been trying to get them to do that. But their definition of information literacy includes that. So I think that one of the challenges is really getting alignment and helping people to see that what they are doing is part of this media and information literacy community. I think getting everyone to use the term MIL, media and information literacy, would go a long way toward bringing us all together. So that is my program. I look forward to speaking with all of you or further about this, and please feel free to contact me to speak further about it. I'll stop there. Thank you.
Thank you, Sherry, for this insightful. You see, you have been very active on many fronts, and the presentation shows that you have a comprehensive approach and comprehensive view, which is very important. Working on media information literacy with children and going through to the university level. You have integrated research, which is a key component at the university level, and in order to advance media and information literacy for all, research at the level of the Center for Media and Information Literacy at your university. In addition to your active and full involvement at the level of the UNESCO University Network on Media and Information Literacy and Intercultural Dialogue. I want to highlight the international study that you have directed on privacy within the UNESCO Milad University network, and that was very successful and applauded. And we do need to work jointly and as a network and with other partners on such issues of key importance to the whole humanity. not societies, including all segments of societies. You are also very active at the level of the UNESCO Global Media and Information Literacy Alliance, and you are always saying yes to anyone asking for partnerships. I really appreciate that. You have never said to me, I want to organize a conference. Yes. I want you to join this panel. Yes. I've never seen Sherry saying no.
Because it's important. It's so important.
This is the spirit of partnership and collaboration. Very important element also is what you said, that at the level of leadership, when we have someone at the top knowing what is at stake when dealing with media and information literacy, for sure the road will be facilitated for us. You engaged youth and the aspect which I really applaud is your curriculum for general education students. Any students coming to any college or university will have the opportunity to have a course and to know what how to take profit and how to protect oneself from the opportunities and challenges of the hyper connected and hyper-mediated media and information literacy world. Particular attention and focus on fighting disinformation and misinformation. And I enjoyed one of the sessions of which you were the director, the road to extremism and how to fight extremism. So many, you are working on so many areas in a global approach and comprehensive approach. We are glad to have you in the network and to have the capacity to cooperate and collaborate with you.
Thank you.
Back to you, Alton.
Okay, thank you so much, Dricia. Thank you, Sherry Hope, for enlightening us many practical experiences. Now we move very rapidly to our next speaker, Dr. Abdelhamid Nfisi. We have moved from the Caribbean to Latin America and the Caribbean to the USA. Now we are in the Arab states. So all our participants, you're traveling the world at very lightning speed here. So Dr. Nfisi is a professor at the Sidi Mohammed bin Abdallah University and member of the Media and Information Literacy and Intercultural Dialogue University network. Sidi Mohammed bin Abdallah University was, the home for the launch of the Media and Information Literacy and Intercultural Dialogue University network some 11 years ago. And in fact, the seed for Global Media and Information Literacy Week, or what we know as Global Media and Information Literacy Week, was planted in that first international conference on media and information literacy, also there in Sidi Mohammed bin Abdallah University. So please, Dr. Nfisi, please share your experiences and involvement in promoting media and information literacy in your university with us.
Okay, thank you, Alton, for your kind words. Thank you, Dricia, for organizing this activity. Hello, everybody. Greeting from Fez. My talk goes in line with the theme of the conference, with the panel. It's the realities, prospects, and the challenges. As you know, MIL is in New Morocco. Teaching media and information literacy in Morocco is new. Is included in the education system, but it is not well developed as it is in the developed countries. The Moroccan emergency plan for higher education introduced in 2009, Media Studies and Cyber Culture in the curriculum of all departments of English studies only as the faculties of humanities in Morocco. The course now is taught in 2 semesters, semester 2 and semester 4, introducing our students to the world of media, new media, and cyber culture. This initiative provides us a framework and a good opportunity to include media literacy in the curriculum in order to help our students understand the functions of media and its positive and negative aspects on society. Concerning information literacy has not fully been integrated in the education system. Now it is taught in our faculty and other faculties in Morocco under the umbrella of research methods and study skills. Information literacy is taught then teach students the techniques and the skills of conducting research in all departments in Morocco, including library skills, computer skills, critical thinking skills, and research skills and evaluation of print and online sources. Media and information literacy combined. After teaching media literacy and information literacy separately in 2 semesters, the course of studies in media and cyber culture taught in semester 4 involves the combinations or the combination of media literacy and information literacy, since it includes both studies in media and cyber culture. It is, and it was, and it is an opportunity for us as teachers of this module to combine them. It means to combine media literacy and information literacy. Why? Because I believe personally that the combination of the 2 aspects, the 2 disciplines, go hand in hand to achieve sustainable development and to face the challenges of the digital age. We seize this opportunity to highlight that UNESCO took the lead in combining media and information literacy and encouraging its integration in the educational system as a combined set of skills and competencies aiming to equip individuals of all ages, gender, with the skills and the competencies to become or to be more critical in their reception, evaluation, and use of media and information. The first edition of UNESCO Media and Information Literacy Curriculum for teachers, launched as the first international forum on media and information literacy on 15 June 2011, as the Faculty of Medicine, FES Morocco, put teachers as the center of this process and provided quality material for teachers to adapt to the various needs of their classrooms, especially that it was translated into the 6 working languages of UNESCO, including Arabic and French. On our part, we have adapted many modules to use them in teaching key components of media and information literacy at our faculty. Being aware that the exposition of students to a rich variety of information sources requires the acquisition of novel skills to evaluate information and media content. Then we decided to fuse both the disciplines into one course called now Media and Information Literacy. Since MIL was not much known in Morocco, as mentioned earlier, and believing strongly that MIL is important for youth, parents, and for every citizen, Sidi Mohammed bin Abdullah has been active in organizing every year until now conferences, seminars, workshops to make media and information literacy known to Moroccan academics and to raise student awareness about the importance of MIL in their lives. We have been working in collaboration with UNESCO, United Civilization, and the Media and Information Literacy and Intercultural Dialogue University Network, of which we are founding members. The most important activities are, as I already mentioned, we organized the first International Forum on Media and Information Literacy. The leader of the project, myself, representing Sidi Mohammed bin Abdullah, and Dr. Schwitz, representing Moulay Ismail University, with which we have been closely cooperating, and we are the two leading Moroccan universities in the field. The first International Forum on Media Information Literacy came up with the Fez Declaration on MIL and the launch of the UNESCO United Nations Alliance of Civilization University Network on Media and Information Literacy and Intercultural Dialogue. Number two, it means the second main activity, when we organize two workshops on MIL for future and current educator, organized by the collaboration of the United Nations Alliance. In 2014, projects funded by United Nations Alliance of Civilization. Now, I finished with realities and I will move to mention some challenges. MIL faces many challenges in Morocco and even in the Arab world, which can be summarized as follows. Number one, the need to de-Westernize MIL. We need to adapt MIL actions and research to the Moroccan and the Arab context and to serve in the best way the needs of Moroccan students and the people of the region. Local media and information literacy imposes itself. Number two, poor mastery of foreign languages and scarcity of references of MIL in Arabic constitutes a real handicap. UNESCO and international stakeholders have to encourage research on the specificities of MIL in Morocco and the Arab region, taking into account its cultures, and to translate the main documents into Arabic and in local languages spoken by native speakers. Number 3, libraries in Morocco still operate in a traditional way. We need to train teachers, librarians, to adapt their skills to benefit from the advancement of digital technology and to put e-libraries as the service of learners and educators to enhance scientific research, knowledge creation and sharing, innovation and development. Number 4, illiteracy in Morocco, it seems to me, is high, which prevents parents from taking full advantages from MIL. I am sure Moroccan government is making huge effort to combat illiteracy. Parents should be MIL literate because homes are the first place where they receive education. Parents should be equipped with the skills to guide and help their children use the internet safely, wisely when they come back home from school. Lack of trained teachers, manuals, textbooks, and teaching methods in the field of MIL. Now, we move to prospects. As I mentioned earlier, MIL as a combined module is taught at the Department of English Studies only. The Ministry of Higher Education has to extend the teaching of MIL to all departments and disciplines of higher education. And I would like to stress again the role of translation of MIL or MIL documents into French and Arabic in order to make everyone take advantages of these literacies. Because as you know, the working languages in Moroccan higher education are French and Arabic. There is a strong need to include MIL in the educational system, in the primary, secondary, and university levels. The best way to implement it is to design manuals, textbooks on MIL, and to look for the suitable methodology of teaching it. What is needed now is how to teach MIL to people coming from different cultures. More than that, we know MIL is born in the West, applied Western methods in Arab and Muslim settings may be doomed to failure. To integrate,
Doctor, I hope you're wrapping up. We're way over time.
2 minutes. To integrate civic education in
45 seconds.
Okay, shall I finish?
Yes,
No?
yes,
Shall I
yes, go
stop?
ahead. 45 seconds. Yes, please.
Okay, anyway, to integrate civic education in the Arabic educational system, to train learners for critical thinking. And the last one, to include media on the agenda of national associations to develop both to literate and illiterate citizens. National association should target all classes in society to make media and information literate citizens. Thank you for your attention, Arthur.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nfisi, for yet another perspective that you have brought to us from the language and linguistic department in your university, doing some important work, extensive work, and again, lots to talk about, in your presentation, but unfortunately we are out of time. We need to run to the next speaker, and then hopefully we can come back to you, Dr. Nfisi, to discuss some of what you presented in the question and answer segment. So let us move to the next speaker that would be presented by my colleague, the co-moderator, Dr. Dricia Shuit.
Thank you, Alton. Next speaker is Dr. Jakhtar Singh. He is a Director of Collaborations and Partnerships for the Indian Association of Teachers of Library and Information Science. He is a former head of the Department of Library and Information Science and a former Dean of the Faculty of Education and Information Science of the Punjab University, India. As member of the Millard University Network, he contributed to the second edition of the UNESCO Media Information Literacy Curriculum for Educators and Learners, Think Critically and Click Wisely. Professor Jakhtar will share with us the realities, challenges, and prospects for integrating media information literacy in India. Professor Jakhtar, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Dricia. Okay, I'm going. First of all, I'm deeply grateful to UNESCO, Dr. Alton Groezel, for giving me an opportunity to share my perceptions on integrating media and information literacy in higher education curricula, and also to learn from this learned panel discussion. So,
Dr. Singh, can you please just put your PowerPoint on presentation mode?
just a minute. It's not visible.
Yes, but it's small. It's not on presentation mode.
Just a minute.
If you can click the icon at the bottom.
Slideshow, yes. At the bottom, just use that little.
Just click the third icon at the bottom right of your screen.
Okay.
Bottom right, there are three icons at the bottom right. You click on the third one.
No.
Bottom right of your screen.
Right of the screen.
Yeah, there are three icons together. No, before the zoom button there, just before that, before what you see 90%, it comes right before 90%. Can you click that icon, the one that comes right before 90%? No, cancel that.
Okay.
No.
No, cancel that, please.
Cancel that.
Okay.
I think
Is it okay now?
somebody
Okay.
said if you do F5, it will just automatically.
Yes, can you
Um,
click F5? Are you
F5
in a
on your-
computer?
I have already done F5. I think I do not know what's the problem, but anyhow, I will be speaking.
Okay, please go ahead.
Yeah.
Yes, same time.
So in the beginning, I want to tell that media and information literacy is necessary for a composite country like India, because it's a multicultural country and there are always many conflicts, and media and information literacy is necessary to resolve these conflicts. And that's why I have given the rationale here that firstly, media and information literacy is necessary to facilitate quality decision making, promote academic research, and also facilitate resource-based student-centered learning. Secondly, it is necessary to promote intercultural dialogue in a pluralistic country like India, to facilitate peaceful coexistence and also to reinforce human rights. Thirdly, media and information literacy is also necessary to counter disinformation, misinformation, fake news, propaganda, hate speech, radicalization, and extremism. So fourthly, it is necessary to empower students and faculty to think critically and click wisely to decode the algorithm-based realities, to know truth behind the stories being spread by the vested interests. We know that media is controlled by politicians, governments, and corporate tycoons, and we are to teach our students about the motive of the media and the conditions in which the media is working. This is necessary because youth and students are the future of nations. So how we can integrate media and information curricula in higher education? At global level, UNESCO MIL Alliance, UNESCO's Millard UniTwin, and IFLA's information literacy section will have to lead the media and information literacy concept and practice to the grassroots worldwide. Collaboration and partnerships are the heart of the matter. Media and information literate citizens think critically, click wisely. Second edition of the UNESCO Model Media and Information Literacy Curriculum for Educators and Learners 2021 should be adopted and adapted worldwide. Indian context. Now, what is the reality of India? The concept and practice of media and information literacy has not yet gained ground. But University Grants Commission has EPG Pathshala program, and it has developed a model media and information literacy paper to be integrated in the higher educational institutions. We at Punjabi University have introduced a paper entitled Media and Information Literacy and Scholarly Publishing for the PhD students of Library and Information Science. And many students are also pursuing PhD on media and information literacy and domain-specific literacies like agricultural information literacy, legal information literacy, health information literacy, etc. Information literacy is introduced also in few central universities of India, like Central University of Himachal Pradesh, Central University of Punjab, Central University of Haryana. They have introduced media and information literacy program in collaboration with library and information science programs and journalism and mass communication programs. Now, what's the challenge? The main challenge is how to integrate media and information literacy in the higher education curricula in India. Prospect. Media and information literacy course components can be comfortably integrated in the higher education programs in India by adopting the strategies being mentioned in the next slide. Now, I briefly want to share with you India's hallmark heart of the new education policy of India. It is in tune with the World Higher Education Conference mandate. It is focusing on 5 pillars, that is affordability, accessibility, quality, equity, and accountability of education. Means Indian policy doesn't want anybody to left behind. In fact, there is much emphasis on multidisciplinarity, digital literacy, written communication, problem solving, logical reasoning, and vocational exposure. Hence, the regulatory bodies such as the University Grants Commission and the All India Council for Technical Education must direct the universities and colleges in India to integrate media and information literacy courses in their curricula to become eligible for the grants being issued by these regulatory bodies. Similarly, National Assessment and Accreditation Council should also make media and information literacy integration in the higher education curricula as one of the parameters for certification and recognition of these colleges and universities. At universities and autonomous college level, a policy of media and information literacy integration in the higher education curricula should also be adopted. National and state level associations should come forward to support MIL integration in higher education curriculum. At Punjabi University, in collaboration with International Federation of Library Associations and Institutions and UNESCO, has organized many events. In collaboration with UNESCO and IFLA in 2005, it organized a workshop for South Asia that was information skills for learning in 2005. And here the Empowering 8 model of information literacy was fine-tuned. And then again, training the trainers in information literacy workshop was organized in 2008 with support from UNESCO. Similarly, in 2012, Media and Information Literacy Survey for Asia and Pacific to ascertain the awareness and understanding of media and information literacy of graduate students in Asia and Pacific was conducted, and report was submitted to the UNESCO. And finally, a capacity building workshop on media and information literacy was organized in 2016 with the support of UNESCO to empower youth and youth-led organizations. Besides this, Punjabi University has also collaboration with UNESCO, and 5 laws of media and information literacy were developed by Dr. Elton Grizzle in collaboration with me. And similarly, we also developed e-artists mill model, where I contributed principally, but in 5 laws of media and information literacy, Dr. Elton Grizzle conceived the idea and then took it to the logical conclusion. So I have 2-3 recommendations for integration of media and information literacy. My first recommendation is that UNESCO may write to the higher education regulatory bodies in member states, 193 member states or countries, to integrate media and information literacy course components in higher education curricula. Number 2, the 2nd edition of UNESCO's model media and information literacy curriculum for educators and learners should be voluntarily adopted and adapted to local educational conditions worldwide in different countries. 3rd, for sustainable development of media and information literacy, joint degree programs and research activities should also be undertaken, and these should be facilitated by the bodies such as International Media and Information Literacy Institute and the UNESCO's Millard University Network. I personally feel that media and information literacy must become hemoglobin of the information society. And for that, concerted efforts must be made at national, regional, and global level. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Jakhtar, for your enlightening presentation, which ended with a set of recommendations. And I think that all eminent speakers at these panels and all academics agree with what was said by the Assistant Director General of UNESCO for the need of collaborations and the need for partnerships and the need to set synergies. We would add to that the need to involve passionate teachers and learners in the process of making our media information literacy and empowering and liberating to all. Why to integrate media information literacy? You put the hand on key issues of the importance of intercultural dialogue. I liked so much your use of the peaceful coexistence, because when we should coexist, it is much better than using the word tolerance. And to reinforce human rights, and this is the approach of UNESCO, a human rights-based media and information literacy for all to counter misinformation and disinformation. The example of India is particularly interesting because as it is a multilingual and multicultural country, it needs more than other monolingual, even if monolingualism does not really exist, but multilingual and multicultural countries do need the help of media information literacy. I joined this to what was presented by Esther about their fascinating program about a multicultural, cross-race, cross-gender, cross-class, inclusive curriculum for marginalized, for excluded, for reaching the sustainable goals. The new education policy with its tricky issues, affordability, access, quality, equity, accountability, cannot be but applauded. And with this, we would have listened carefully and enjoyed all the inputs from eminent members of the UNESCO UNITWIN University Network on Media and Information Literacy and Intercultural Dialogue. We open the now the stage for discussion and question answer. Alton?
Yes, thank you so much, Dricia. So, we're almost out of time. Again, we thank all our partners and friends and participants who have connected from all over the world, over 100 of you from many different countries. We see that the comments and the discussion room, the chat room is very, very active. There is too much for us to share. So we encourage other participants, if you are on your computer, or even on your mobile phone, and you're able to take a glance at the chat, you'll see a lot that is happening there. The first question we'll pose to to Sherry Hope and Dr. Carr, who spoke earlier. And the question came from a participant who asked about how can we strengthen the training of teachers. One person highlighted that in their country, they do not have a lot of leeway and autonomy to decide on material and training in their country. What can be done to empower teachers more? with media and information literacy, what universities can do. And so, Sherry, Dr. Carr, can you speak to a little bit about that, both from your experiences practically, but also, again, maybe from also in terms of theoretical perspective of what could be done?
Paulette, would you like to take that first?
Okay, all right. So from experience, what I know we did through the Department of Library and Information Studies at the University of the West Indies, Mona. And I'm wondering is it that the person is asking about teachers outside of the university or teachers within? Because it's
I think it's mostly outside of the university.
Okay, yes. We had some years ago a thrust. We did a research into finding out the competencies, the MIL competencies of teachers in training, and then actually had a program where we were pulling the teachers in for workshops. Based on the research, it identified some of the weaknesses and the gaps in their knowledge. Another thing I know that happened in Jamaica was that the Broadcasting Commission actually worked with along with UNESCO and did some training of teachers to develop their competencies so they could go out. The other route I know it has happened for us is that the Library and Information Association has a school network. So that's one way of, and so teachers are undergirded with different workshops. And it's a very robust program that's going on where the teachers are called in for workshops to build their. So I think on the ground level, you'd have to use some of the organizations that are able to reach out to the schools outside of getting that input from the government and say from the Ministry of Education, which is harder to come by. So I think persons within the education forum, at least at the universities, we reached out to the teachers. And one thing that we were trying to do with our faculty members is and I mentioned that research that I found is reaching out to the faculty. I think we're going to go that route in terms of building the competency levels of the lecturers and so that they can actually help to get the MIL competencies out. I'm not sure what happens elsewhere, but those are some of what we did.
Okay, Sherry, do you want to give us a short response there?
Yeah, on a very practical level, I'll just say that helping, I often will say to teachers that you are likely doing something in your room already, in your classroom already, that is part of what you would want to talk about with media and information literacy. The key is whether, or the missing piece often is whether you are actually calling it media and information literacy. So that would be step one, is to help them have a greater understanding just of what the definition is so that they can look within the work they're already doing and see if you're already showing a film to your students, if you're already having a conversation about advertising, if you're already having a conversation about the news, there's an opportunity to talk about MIL in that. The other is that you do not need digital technology to have a conversation about media and information literacy. And sometimes classrooms will feel that, well, we don't have computers, we don't have whatever it might be, but that you don't need any technology to be able to have conversation about critical thinking. And so again, it's probably something that your teachers are incorporating in some way. If they had a better understanding about the definition of media and information literacy, that might help them integrate it into what they're doing already without having to add another layer. I 100% support what Paulette was talking about as the need, but this is another way of approaching it.
And of course, the role of the librarians in the schools, because the librarians have been trained. So the librarians collaborate with the librarians and get that have them help in putting those competencies within the courses. And as Sherry says, you probably are doing it already. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is one of the approach that UNESCO is taking. We are actively trying to work with teacher training institutions, with our education sector, through our teacher education task force, working with regulatory authorities for teacher education. And we are pushing for the integration of media and information literacy as a standard part of teacher training. All right, and we have some experiences, some pilots in a number of countries where teacher education institutions have piloted our new resource, Media and Information Literate Citizens, Think Critically, Click Wisely. There's another question for Professor Amberger. This person said, I'm a young professional from the Philippines. What advice would you give to encourage a healthy issue discourse among senior faculty members to promote a constructive evidence against widespread misinformation that is, that people are facing now in the wake of the national elections? A long question there. Professor Amberger, do you want to give a short response, please?
Yes, we have already had some exchange in the chat, but I would like to tell everybody what I told her, is that I think that using concrete evidence and discussing concrete pieces of images, for instance, that are being used in a misled way in the media or in the social media, and sometimes some public networks like BBC or Deutsche Welle, they bring very informative pieces about how this piece of film that looks truth, but it's truth, but it was like a long time ago and it passed in it's in another place and not in the place they are showing. So I think we should work with concrete images, and with there are a couple of softwares that we can use to attest if a piece is truth or not. So I think we should work with empirical material in order to demonstrate that it's important to uncover the meanings that are being attached to it.
Okay, thank you so much.
Also, just a little line on teachers. We have experience with promoting workshops with teachers and hands-on workshops with teachers, like making, trying to tell them how to make films and to make them familiar with that. And we have students teaching teachers, and that's being like university students teaching teachers. And that's been very, very productive and stimulating.
Thank you so much for that, Professor Amberger, and for coming back on this matter of teacher education. And for those who are connected and you're working with teacher, if you're a teacher, there are a number of online courses that have been developed as well for the training of teachers. These are open education resources online, massively open online courses, free of cost. One was developed between UNESCO and the Athabasca University in Canada, for example. We're now updating that course, and it will be open for teachers across the world. But if you go to our website, our partners' website, you will see a number of training courses that are being developed in different languages. We also soon will be launching a massively open online course on media and information literacy for policymakers. It's been called Deep Dive for Media and Information Literacy for Policymakers. So again, in your local communities, in your country, you can encourage your policymaker to pursue this course and to get more knowledgeable about why it's important to integrate this. Someone from Colombia made a note, said, along with teaching all of the some Google News initiative, we have developed media literacy study plan called Digiment from Latin America. So just a shout out from someone from Colombia. And then a question to Dr. NFC Abdelhamid. Someone asked the question, you know, should we focus more on information literacy, you know, rather than media and information literacy? I'm paraphrasing a bit, but I think the person was asking, is there a benefit to highlight information literacy out of media and information literacy itself? I mean, this question was directed at Sherry Hope, in fact, but Sherry spoke already. So, Dr. NFC, what is your response to that? Do you think, you know, highlighting information literacy more than media and information literacy will make a better transdisciplinary approach? The person is asking.
No, I don't think so. We have to combine both and to focus on both disciplines to explain media content and information providers. Okay, if we focus only one aspect, I think the results will not be good. I think we have to focus on both disciplines because they go hand in hand in the digital age. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Dr. NFC. And I like the fact that earlier you mentioned a practical link between research studies, you know, and research skills and study skills and media and information literacy. And that's a good marriage, in fact, for practitioners and for higher education to think about how media and information literacy relates to research methods and study skills and library skills and computer skills, you know, because there's a direct link that you mentioned earlier. Okay, voila, I think we're way over time. So with that, you know, I know we weren't able to take all the questions, and maybe my co-moderator, you know, Dr. Drisia Shuit, maybe you have something you want to close and maybe closing remarks, and then I'll also say a few remarks so that we can wrap up. Dr. Shuit, over to you.
Thank you, Alton. In fact, there was a question from asking about how to join the network. So it is easy on the UNESCO website, UNESCO Media and Information Literacy Network. You can join by being associate member to one of the universities of your region, or if you want to be member of the UNESCO Global Media Information Literacy Alliance, you simply have to fill a form and you will be receiving all information and details about the activities. We are glad, there are so many other questions, but we need to organize so many other webinars and discussions. We are glad to see such interest, big interest from different age groups and different stakeholders for this international panel on integrating media information literacy. So it is the timely topic and it is a necessity, and we should all join hands and keep working together and collaborating in order to make media information literacy a reality, accessible, empowering, and liberating to all. At Mullah Ismail University, we are proud and grateful and thankful to UNESCO for this opportunity to organize with you this panel, and we look forward to more cooperation with UNESCO and with all my colleagues in the network and other partners. Thank you, Alton. Back to you.
Thank you so much. UNESCO is very grateful for the dialogue. Let me apologize to Dr. Singh. We weren't able to come back to you with a question, but we really appreciated, again, of course, your intervention. You know, we're grateful for, you know, for all the speakers, for all the participants who are connected. The video will be shared online, and so we can continue to share and reshare and continue the dialogue in social media. In fact, we can consider digital platforms as sort of open university in the 21st century. And these are open university that UNESCO believe it's important that all citizens who are using digital platforms are empowered with media and information literacy. A lot can be learned there. And there's a lot of integration across physical universities and online platform. I think we all know the etymology of the word university. It comes from the Latin word universitas, which means a whole or entire. Some experts also suggest that it consists of two familiar words, unity and diversity. That is universities, unity and diversity. That is, unity and diversity. The whole and the entire. Today, we have addressed media and information literacy as a whole and in its entirety. We are also doing this through partnerships, multidisciplinary partnerships and interdisciplinary partnerships. So again, whole and entirety. It is this type of meetings of minds, peoples, cultures, and discipline that media and information literacy produces. Illustratively, media and information literacy bridges information literacy for all with education for all. Higher education institutions are brothers and sisters of this process. Higher or tertiary level education institutions are pivotal to nurturing trust in verified information and the scientific approach to inquiry. They are parents of media and information literacy for all. So let's continue on this journey of integrating media and information literacy in higher education and to see an overflow to secondary schools, high schools, community centers, and to digital platforms as Open University. With that, we thank you so much. We'd like to take a picture of all the speakers. If you can open your camera so that we will have this to share online. My colleagues will take over and do that, and hopefully they will play the video that we should have played earlier to close the session. Thank you so much. Let's continue the dialogue online. Please, if you can open your video. Including my colleagues, who have been so instrumental, Hannah and Tatovic, Joanna, if you're connected, please, if you can just open your camera as well. It's through teamwork that we are succeeding both within and outside of UNESCO with our partners outside of UNESCO. Okay, Anna, are we set?
Yes, alors, in 1, 2, 3. Okay, we're good. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. See you online.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank
Bye,
you.
everybody.
Media and information literacy empowers people to think critically about information and use of digital tools. Media and information literacy helps people to make informed choices about how they participate in peace building, equality, freedom of expression, access to information, and sustainable development goals in general. UNESCO supports and champions media and information literacy initiatives across the globe. We do this through actions such as capacity building for various stakeholders, developing curricula for educators and learners to aid the integration of media and information literacy in all levels of education, assisting governments and institutions to formulate national media and information literacy policies and strategies, training journalists to promote media and information literacy to build trust in media, strengthening international cooperation and raising awareness through the UNESCO Media and Information Literacy Alliance, supporting youth organisations to integrate media and information literacy into their policies and operations, and become peer educators online, offering a suite of online media and information literacy courses, including ones for policymakers, undertaking research with the UNESCO Media and Information Literacy and Intercultural Dialogue University Network, organising the annual Global Media and Information Literacy Week. With this holistic approach and rich resources, we can help foster media and information literacy among people and communities across the globe. Here's how you can get involved in UNESCO's media and information literacy initiatives and make a real difference in society.